Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the part 2 video lecture of presentation skills. Now the topics that we have already covered in part 1 are: what is a presentation, the definition of it, what are the different types of presentations, the key elements that you need to remember before you present, the planning that you need to do before your presentation, and the structure of your presentation with introduction, body, and conclusion, and also the signposting, and how important it is to prepare well before you present, rehearse well, plan, take any help that is needed, and then present it well.
The next slide is how to manage your presentation in a neat and organized manner. Okay, so as I already said, first impression is something very important. You should not, make a bad impression by starting your presentation late or not including, certain points that are very basic. Even the audience also would know it, and also you cannot judge your audience thinking that they may not know it, or they may not be very clear about this, so it is okay to not to prepare and go. So that is not the excuse at all. Sometimes you would have a matured audience who would be sitting, they might be uh, well aware of so many things. Even if the age is younger to you, they might know more than you. So that is why nowadays information is accessible everywhere. It is at the fingertips, so we should be careful. When you go as a presenter, you should research well, you should know, and then you should be able to present, and you should not spoil the first impression. And non-verbal signals are very important as a presenter. Making an eye contact is something very important. You should not show that you're scared when you speak. You should be able to look into the eyes of people. I know if it is difficult to look into eyes of people, just because if you have stage fear, you can just manage by glancing at your audience, couple of times, and just find out some comfortable face which would not intimidate you, and then just look at that face for 2 to 5 seconds, not more than that. If you look more than that, what happens is it would give an impression that you are talking to one person in the audience, not for all. So keep shifting your glance. So this is how you can manage if you have stage fear. Just try to get a comfortable glance, and then from there get little more confidence, and then continue. So eye contact is also important, body language is important, using gestures are important, and your voice, the quality of your voice, your enthusiasm or interest to speak should be heard in your voice. Your voice modulation, the pitch you use, so that is more important. Okay, the accent that you use also is important, and the volume. If you are speaking with very less volume, you may not be clear. If you're speaking with harsh voice, then that is also very creaky, and the audience would not like it. If you're speaking too speed, it's difficult to comprehend. If it is too slow, it is boring to listen. So you should know where to balance. The next one is importance of pauses. Silence is also important in your speech, where you should speak, where you should pause. And once you pause, have you give time for your audience to think and interact. So that is also important. Where you need to pause is something that you should know as a speaker. And the language that you use, you should not hurt your audience when you speak. You should know what words that you can use, what is the formal language that you can speak. So that is something you have to understand, and try to make it more interactive. So interaction is something very important. Otherwise, uh, it would be just a monologue, and the audience will lose interest in you. Ask some questions to make it more engaging, and listen to your audience when they have points. Okay, so the last one is dealing with the questions. So at the end of your presentation, you should be open to receive any sort of question that can be thrown at you. and you should be able to manage that in a very smooth manner. If at all the question is biased, for example, what would you do then? You should be able to handle such situation. You should think and then react. For example, if the question is something, it represents a biased point of view which you have not said in your presentation, then how would you react it? So maybe if I'm a presenter, I would make it clear to my audience that I have stated in a clear manner that this is how I have explained. But the question asked by so and so, person X or Y or Z, brings in this particular information. That is something new that has been introduced by person X, Y, or Z. So I would respond it this way and then continue my explanation or justification, or whether I agree or disagree. So I would go with that. So you should voice out, say not harshly, but in a polite manner and also clear manner, that what your presentation was, what you included, what you did not include, and how that was an extra question asked by the audience. So you should be able to answer it in a diplomatic manner. So that is important. And sometimes your listeners uh, would not listen to you properly, and they might ask you the questions which you have already answered in your presentation. But you should not lose your patience. You should be patient enough to repeat or paraphrase and say your answer again without losing your patience. So that is also important. So handling the questions comes through experience. As and when you present, you will get that hack. Once you are experienced, it is easier for you to answer. And you need to listen a lot. You need to listen to great speakers, how they answer the questions. So that is something inspiring. Have your teachers answer questions, or how great speakers who come to your college, how they answer the questions, how they deliver the topic, how they connect the dots and make a very good speech or presentation. So you look around and get inspired and listen to more and more people. That would bring a change or improvement in you. Okay, so I would like to go to certain tricks or tips and tricks that you can understand to make your presentations better. Okay, so you should understand that there are varieties of presentations. The formal presentations would require you to speak formally. That is something you should remember. So as a part of your academic study, for your particular course, you need to present something. It might be a class seminar. So how do you present then? What is the purpose? Assessment patterns, how it will be, how much marks will be given, what is the rubrics. So based on that, you can prepare. Check what is expected from you. If anything is not clear, then consult your teacher before you present. Much prior, you consult, and you can take help of your teacher or friends and make notes. You can use the cards. If it is scary for you to speak, you can use cards, and also put numbers, sequence numbers. Otherwise you will be searching for the cards and it would be difficult to handle. So if you put numbers in the cards, it would be easy. The first slide one card, second slide another card. So you can use cards. And also, as I said, prepare well, and also guess the questions, and then prepare well prior hand. If it is a group presentation in the sense individual is not the sole responsible there, entire group will be given the work, then speaking as a part of the group is also important, and it needs certain technique. The advantages of forming groups is you can use the range of abilities that you have in your group. uh, an individual would be a great speaker, another person would be very good in the technical skill, somebody else is very good in visual aids providing that. So shared work and also shared stress And the teamwork is something that is the advantage of group work. And the suggestion here is rehearsal is must when it is a group discussion or group presentation, because without rehearsal you do not know how much time the other person takes, and whether the ideas will be repeated by each of the individuals. So these are the things you should make clear before presenting it to your audience. So rehearsal is very important, and limiting the subject is also important. Otherwise you take too much of time in group presentation and it becomes boring, and it would be just a repeated idea. Answering the questions also is important. How you take turn, or how you support each other in group, so that also becomes important. And when somebody is answering or presenting, you should not interrupt and start speaking in between. So interrupting other group members is a bad manners that you should avoid. The next one, speaking as a student representative. So maybe if you want to orient some new set of students, then how you speak, how you should use your language, formal language there, and how you make them you know educated by creating certain impression. So that is important. Or maybe through club activities you have to engage the students, then how you talk. So that would be a different situation. It's not like an academic purpose. So based on the situation you have to change and you have to use it. Speaking at meetings, committee meetings would be different. Speaking in job interviews would be different. Have you heard about jam? Jam is not the bread jam. It is just a minute presentation, or maybe just a minute in the sense just 1 minute duration will be given. In that 1 minute, how well organized you are and how well you can, pass your information is something that the interviewer would, would check. So how briefly can you explain rather than deviating your ideas? How clear cut and to the point you are, how precise you are is also important. So jam is that just a minute presentation. It can be or it can be a panel discussion or group discussion where you should not show any aggressive form of behavior. Rather than that, how well can you show your composed behavior and uh, put across your thoughts in a neat and organized manner, in a strong manner, with a little more confidence is something that would be assessed there in interviews. So that is something you can consider based on the situation when you speak. So one of the last slides here, presentation checklist. Pre-planning is something important. Planning is important. What is planning? We had discussed certain points there. Knowing your audience, preparing, rehearsing, all those points, the technical help that what you need, the time limit what you have. So understanding, assessing everything, so that is the planning. And then practice well, and the delivery, or that day when you present, how you present it with confidence, with body language. And after delivery, what you do, after presentation, what you do, you have to take the feedback, whether it is constructive or not. You have to take the feedback and start working on that. Or if you have a live uh, recorded session, then you can just check your own recording and try to avoid certain mistakes that you have already done there, and improvise it for the next time. So after delivery is also important. This slide gives the list of reference books that I consulted when I prepared for this presentation. These are some of the PDFs available online as well. You can just search and access them. And thank you. Thank you, everybody. And one more important trick which I forgot to mention was that you should smile and thank your audience at the end. Even throughout, you need to smile and carry your personality so well that it should be attractive for your public. Okay, so it's always important to sum up at the end before conclusion. So if we sum up what we did today, we just started with what is a good presentation, with the definition, and then we moved on saying that how presentation should be understandable, memorable, and emotional, the key elements that you should consider, and how you should plan and structure your presentation. What are some of the tips and tricks that you should consider, what you should do, what you should not do So these were some of the points we were looking into, and most importantly, you should consider your body language along with your language skills. So these are some of the points that I would like you to remember as take home value from today's class. See you in next class. Bye.